This is day 925, the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. That's sponsored by Shir Morgan HaShulchan Yomi. Please call me directly. Greatly appreciate it. They were doing Tim and Simon Tav Reish Chav Hey, Sif Hey, to Tav Reish Chav Vav, Sif Vav. Okay, so well, the question is why the mitzvah of Sukkah is in Tishrei. We saw some yesterday that why it's supposed to be during a time which is somewhat uncomfortable. Because gives us a reason why it's in Tishrei and Nisan. Because Baruch wanted to show that even though we're sinners, nevertheless his divine providence has not been removed from us. We sit in his shade. And in the shelter of his wings we shall reside. So after my Torah they made the Egel because that this Ratzah because Baruch Hashem was restored them to his favor with Luchas Acharon. So be Yom Kippurim. That happened Yom Kippur. Chai Yom Kippurim also Yitziva Lasos Mishkan. He commanded us to make the Mishkan. Shechinasa to Tishkom Einenu. That Shir should be reside among us. As it says, I reside within the Jewish people. Lo, you see, below Yisir Melem Anani covered, and not remove the clouds of glory. Because in Nehemiah, Shevenu v'si base, like it says in Nehemiah. Mochein Asalon Koshbar Mitzvah Soto Koshbar made it to us for this mitzvah. Dugmasa, a similar thing. L'doros for generations. Shopping Shanochotin Kol Shana, even though we sin the entire year. Makom Yom Kippurim. That's Yom Kippur. Mechapav when it's saying Shana Shalom Tshuva. Hashem atones for our sins when you do Tshuva. The similar davar, evidence for this matter is that so we can sit in the shade of Hashem. Like it says, in his shade I desired and I sat. So it's a sukkah. And its fruit was sweet from my palate. It's a basic Moshe Chazal by Medrash Chazis. And then Chazal say, to show that after all the sins, who is Baruch Ba'ava Yimar Hashem is in love with us, and pays attention to us, to save us, from any travail or damage, and gave us to sit, a place to sit in his holy and pure shade. Hashem is a sukkah over us. He's a shelter over us. And he says in the back brackets here, Havaya Va'atnus. So in Gematria, you make the cheshbon is no, it's a well-known cheshbon. 91 is Yud Vavke and Aleph Dal Nun Yud. Behind Yeshivas and Shamayim, we just sing Shizvana Kosh Baruch Hu Leishay Besukkah Zechat Tzes Mitzrayim. Shagam has to sit in the sukkah to commemorate the exodus from Egypt. The Klomar meaning Avgad the Chol Mitzvah Safilu Man the Sfili Mitzvah Tzichas Kavana Daishis Kamal Tzes Day Mitzvah. Even though by other mitzvahs, even according to opinion holds that mitzvahs do require Kavana, it's enough to have in mind to be Yotzei the mitzvah. You come nevertheless Besukkah Shipita Torah L'Mai Do the Rav Sechem. The Torah was meticulous and specified that all generations should know. That way, we gave the Jews sukkahs to sit in where I took them out of Egypt. This means Shebishas Kiyum Mitzvah, time the mitzvah neida l'chavin l'tam mitzvah. So here we have to mind that to know and to intend for the purpose of mitzvah shoes, which commemorate our exodus from Egypt. Mishmar adds also zechel and cover. All this is the Yotze the mitzvah in its best form, he says, but the every Yotze, even if the Kavanah was only to be Yotze in the mitzvah. To make the sukkah and fix it immediately after Yom Kippur, the mitzvah which comes to your hand, you should not lose it. How you use reason like the mitzvahs and meticulous people, intelligent people hasten to do mitzvahs. Tafresh Chavav, in the sukkah shetagas ilo tagas a gag, sukkah under a tree or under a roof. The sukkah tagas avir shemayim, sukkah has done the airspace of the heavens. He tagas davar acher, but it's underneath somebody else. So it is invalid. The time it says, "But sukkosh teishvu below sukkosh tagas a sukkah." In the sukkahs you should sukkahs. It's spelled without a vav. So in the sukkah, you should say below the sukkah, one sukkah underneath another sukkah. Below the sukkah, shtachas elon. That's under the tree. Below the sukkah, should talk about the sukkah in your house. By the Rashi, Mishum Nichsi, but sukkos chaser up. Because sukkos has been here that above. The Masha sukkah chas, it sounds like one sukkah below shnei sukkachim and not two shelters. So partially, the sukkah achas tim sukkah chas. Obviously, the one sukkah you're sitting after has that proper schach. By the Darba Tolu, something which is plucked from the ground. The Ainum Makabel Tumah Tam Makabel Tumah, which is Barbasim, Tavish Chavzes, we shall see. Should have more shade than sun penetrating to the sukkah. So the shade of sukkah should be greater than the sun which comes in from amidst the twigs or the sticks or whatever you use for the schach. As will become clear in Tavish Lam Rav. In sukkah, the log of a sukkah under the sukkah is Barbasim Tavish Kavches. It's going to be clarified later on. In sukkah in a house. Aimbo Bior, I guess it's never explained explicitly in Shulchan Aruch. For possible Klani on it's possible no matter what. And then Besukah Shtas Eon, Besukah on the tree, Yesh Besek Pchotim, Beshitas Harbe of Sen Rishonim. There are many different opinions. For the Rishonim, Roshis Bar, besides Shmai, we shall see. Based, that's Rashi, even Tosis Sham, between the entire Rashi, Tosis, the May Lantz Lassam Ruban Mechamaso. Psula, if the tree has, over the sukkah, has more shade than sun, it's possible. No matter what. I feel like even the sukkah itself has more shade than sun from its own schach. I feel the sukkah coming in, even the sukkah came before the tree. So, but the tree has more sun than shade. And the sukkah has more shade than sun. It's still not making sukkah. It's not underneath the tree. Because the tree is not a chalei shem sukkah. That's when the sukkah has enough shade to overcome the airspace. On its own, it's for Elon, not by the tree joining with it. The sukkah itself is so it says more sun than shade, which is possible. But if they go joins with the tree, but together with both, they make up a more of a shade than sun. So if you lower the branches of the tree down to the area of schach, when they're still connected to the tree, if you have a schach, you mix them with the schach, hakosha with the mix the pasuk schach with the kosher schach, and the kosher schach is the majority. But the pasuk is nullified by the kosher, the brew of the raisa, as long as you have a rov which meets criteria of the raisa. Because anything can mean batal and brov, pasuk shela, the sukkah is kosher. We didn't do lower than they're still standing on their own. Shemu ravim, they're not mixed with the schach. If sheshi's batal brov, they can't be nullified in the majority. Kolamar maybe if not anything which stands on its own, and a batal can't be batal. But nimtza, they ain't got extra sukkahs, don't have a legitimate sukkah. But Turevi Yeshita Zu, Vazar there, Rishana Turbin's opinion, is the first opinion. Shulchan Aruch Sif Aleph. Well, that's the Chatchila. It's appropriate to be concerned, like the Rambam, that you have to cut the twigs off the tree. You can't just leave them on the tree. And that's mutter even if you did that, of course, to cut them off, you don't have to do neonu, you don't have to shake them in order to make them fresh construction for the sukkahs. But Halacha says that that which it says you have to mix them in a way that's not you're not gonna know which is which. That if you left them, it's like a stamp the pus on the kosher. It's still considered yikorim. They're still recognizable, and you can't join them together because they're different levels. Gimel, b'zel yesh b'zeh she'el. It's a question. You bring ma'ariv the iser, the schach basel of the tree with the schach kosher. And me about the rope. And they also say there's more sukkahs. But shach also because it's not relevant because it's not also yet. But I feel with sukkahs that's like sukkah itself ain't seemingly swim. It's not like normal prohibitions. It's not a food stuff. Ela mitzvah ba'alma. It's a mitzvah. A mitzvah is lav nidol. Mitzvah is not given for pleasure. In this point, the Torah allowed you to use the sukkah in order to be yotze the obligation of sukkah. In this manner, you're not going to be yotze. The nimsa the iser b'shas ha'roves. So the iser in any event is not at the time it's mixed together. The atim chayv l'shem b'sukkah zu dafka. That's in the sukkah, so it's not necessarily a prelude for your singing in the sukkah, and therefore it's not necessary to be bata. It's another sukkah. Then when you mix together, mutar sheba allowed to sit in it. The Halach states the kos chashi shlov kosher. Esau which has a majority which is kosher, and a puzzle, and a minority which is puzzle. Mutar l'sheba sukkah allowed to sit in that sukkah. You permit you to do this. If you kasher, that's okay. If you're going to ask, you can't lama rov kosher. Why do you need the majority to be kosher? It's 50-50, it's still mutter. The parts are made mutter because if you have open space exact size as closed space, it's permitted. It's a Ranzal. The Ran answered, this is the way to understand it. The father is certainly parts are made that when it's 50-50, open space versus closed up space, Shem Ravim when the numbers together, mutter. It's permissible. But if they're mixed together, then it's nullified. Shall matir. The significance of it should be probably mutter. The significance of the mutter schach became diminished. They should sorry because it got mixed together. But tzarich rov you need a rov of the good schach in order to render it significant, to be taken into account. Afghan bezeh psul nis arev. Afghan psul nis arev also is the cheshibusa. Hi, the mix together the pause schach no longer has significance. On a cheshibusa the hech shemajminan. We are looking for the significance of its kashrus. We need for the kosher the significance of kosher schach and when they get mixed together they lose both schachs, I guess, lose their significance. The English can ask other of the country and we require you to lower it. And mix it together. You lost the game plus you don't do its puzzle. How are you going to say if this way it makes a question that it loses its chashibus as a result? Great question. Why do you make you lower the branches and mix them together? Even they're not mixed together, then it's kosher. Come and see what we're talking about rods of metal. If you have enough area between each respective clump of rods to put schach kosher, it's kosher. The metal skewers are also by themselves, and the schach is mutar in of itself. Low carb cells, they don't come together with each other. So what's going on here? This is the story. We don't need a mixture. That's halacha stated. That's when the puzzle is not not going to be separated from the kosher. They lie together. But that's when they're together, not when the tree is on top of the schach. The tree is in another schach. They have a schach and schach underneath another schach. Therefore, you require you to lower it, and mix it together. Look, if not, it's still like a tree itself. There's no connection to the kosher schach. That's you have to mix together. Please learn this low kosher class and nullifying Isser deliberately. The other on the country, we can't answer deliberately. They don't need bittul. They had a bittul kormet. It's not that the bittul causes it to be mutter. Other on the country, migarel koch heter, the migar koch heter, the inan rov. The heter is diminished in significance because you need a rov. But as well as a bittul midam acher. Actually means this. Other Rav Gareh Koch had to be in the Beinan Rove. I know what it means by that. That's why I said Bitul Mitam Achim, which goes have the Bitul is meant to say for other reasons. Beitzim Mishai Yisurim is not like other prohibitions that Bitul Karam Iker had there with the Bitul caused the heter. It's the elimination of the tree which caused the heter. Simcha Beis, these borrowed will be clarified later on. Okay, in the brackets you're not row with us. Hey. V'od Shita is long day today. V'od Shita Evi Rosh Shema Ravan Rav Yov V'chein Aram Kasab B'Shita Zu by the Zesha Amar Shita Smash Tzek Rashi who places the Kshesh Tzchak Kosher when there's Tzchak Kosher with Tzilas Mur Chamosa with more shade than sun Uvilan Chamosa Mur B'Mitzilas and the tree there's more sun than shade. That's matter that's kosher no matter what. That's what we said. Ain't okay, it's not true. Fine, the Delovan say ain't no kosher, it's not kosher. Again, it's kosher. Who negative ha'avir should be in kosher. So the schach of the tree is in the air spaces between the schach kosher and non kosher down below. Yeah, does actually sukkah they have schach kosher, then the kosher sukkah is by the kosher schach. That which it has more, imparting more shade than sun. But the schach of the trees directly over the kosher schach. Came should tell them since the shadow of the tree is on top. Negates the kosher schach below, which is now superfluous. It's owning over it. It's not kosher for eliminating the schach kosher. It's not when it's not kosher as well, because the schach kosher is nullified by the schach puzzle on top of it. Okay, I feel it's like a schach kosher. It's only if you remove the schach kosher schach, which corresponds to underneath the tree. You sure I dime hechsher the sukkah same in kosher levadzeh. Besides, just take it out. I'm sorry. I dime hechsher levadzeh tzilasim min chumur chamasa. That hechsher that besides these eliminated pieces of schach, it's still tzilasim min chamasa. Then it's so good. Then it's okay. But there's if you're gonna get two of us, I try it's much more machmir shita that the schach passes not the schach kosher. The Shabbat says that the posuk sounds like schach opposite the tree is schach puzzle, and therefore you need to have less than 4 tvachim of it together in one place. Otherwise, it's interruption in the sukkah, or less than 3 tvachim in a small sukkah. The Bialacha writes according to the principle that when there's 2 yeshomim, the Shulchan Aruch means like the second shot. The guy also here it passes the chumrah. And the schach puzzle is mevatel schach kosher. Nevertheless, shas of chach because another sukkah. You can't fix it on a sukkah. You can rely on the first svara and say it's kosher, even though they have schach puzzle directly above the schach kosher. The day is also in the pink kosher and minimum the zelu shana. The Ram writes as follows: if you lower the leaves below the ervan and you mix them in maschat and schach and he comes so they can't be recognized. But tailing then all of the kosher. Can make of the kosher. I'm sorry. Can you make a schach posel kosher? Also put the schach posel on top of schach kosher. All that and vice versa. Make it's called mixed together with kosher. I got a Klamad low boy you're mamish. You don't need to have literally mixing. Which I have sieved out. You gotta go on the main intent is the Medina Shpola. Low pli zu adel kodemus. In terms of the halacha of the minute lowering the schach, there's no intrinsic machlekes here. Yes, because those who say the zel dafka sukkah tzilas merubam mechamas. It's only the sukkah majority shade over sun below he'ilan without the tree. The he'ilan is started from the tree doesn't join with it. Then it's a bitul gam. It's not complete bitul. Came with shachol asil because you can move it anyway. And you still have a kosher sukkah. So the Mishnah says you should machmir like this opinion to remove the schach puzzle. It's astonishing. The They say explicitly that in this respect, this opinion is not arguing the previous one. Yeah, it seems to be the same. Mix them together. It says it tastes the Rosh Farad. Tashpola Have Muramamish. Lowering is the same thing as mixing. And the Gam says it's not recognizable. Klamar any kind with the Atzma. You can't tell each one separately. Not going to be achad. That but they're together. They ain't saying the Kol Tarovis also but it's better which time it's not like any other Tarovis. It's better where they have to be mixed together. Mamish. The bracket says you're going to regarding the Shabbat talking about Magen Avram. He's also not sure about the Magen Avram, who says that you have to remove the branches. V'achem Moshe Dachel Bar Barichas and Shad V'achem Moshe Gad describes Magen Avram. Chayin Dvar B'Siv Kan Beis Lo Yisbar Uli Kam. Not sure Magen Avram is saying Kamak to Shekel is Kashabal Mak to Shekel difficulty with the Magen Avram Ayin Sham Beduk. See that, and you will find that Magen Avram is just pretty confusing in this respect.